I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. Hello, guys. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. I have a couple of guests with me to start off tonight. Let me go ahead and I think I got a little bit of echo, so I'm going to mute for just a second. Okay, there we go. Let me go ahead and pull up my thumbnail and tell you guys what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to get started with the activist story first. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Give me just a second. All right. All right, guys, this is what we're talking about tonight. We got a couple of stories here. The first one is Tulsi calls out Biden. I can't wait to get into that story. Yes, Biden's at it again, and Tulsi is back in the news. Prince Andrew walks. Not happy with that verdict, not happy with the way things are going with that situation. And last but not least, Nancy Pelosi protests. So we're actually going to get started with the protests for Nancy Pelosi first. And I'm going to unshare my screen. And as I mentioned, I have activists here with me tonight for Medicare for All. And they're going to tell you about their new activism plan here that is going to be happening shortly. And you guys can go ahead and get started, tell them about it, and then I'll share my screen and I'll show them the Eventbrite.
Yeah, so we are the sequel to the March for Medicare for All. Many that, and we are still taking it to the streets because that is the way we're going to get material change for the working class, is by breaking through the matrix and making these Congress members scared of us, making the. So our upcoming event is called the Day of the Dead. It's taking place in San Francisco, and I believe Eric can actually give some of the details about that action.
Yes, hi everyone. Eric Curry here, San Francisco, congressional candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives here in California's 12th district. Like Edwin said, this is the sequel to the 56 marches that took place on July 24th. We are actually having a funeral procession to honor the dead people that have died due to circumstances that are totally, the corporate greed going on in our healthcare system. Nancy Pelosi takes lots of money from Big Pharma, and she won't even bring Medicare for All to the House floor for a vote. So we are having a funeral procession, and activists, and we are having local activists coming and speaking in front of her home. I will let my co-organizer, Sukru, tell you a little bit more about what we've got planned for the day.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so basically, yeah, as Eric said, we really, the idea behind this, and actually as Edwin said too, we really believe that it's time to really put the constant pressure on, our so-called representatives, because they are not representing our interest. They're actually representing the corporate interests that they get, they that fund their campaigns, essentially. So we are making demands to Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, that she co-sponsor HR 1976, Medicare for All Act, and not only that, encourage, proactively encourage her Democratic colleagues and Republican friends to promote Medicare for All Act and make it into law. And also, we are asking, or we are demanding, that she stop taking the healthcare money, which I believe she will not do that, but we believe as a coalition, we should be making all these demands. Specifically demand politicians not to take corporate money. All of them. Republicans and Democrats, doesn't matter which party that they belong. So that's the concrete demands that we are making on that day, and we have activists across the nation joining us on that day. Which will be amazing. And also this will be a multi-issue event, because we came to the point, we strongly believe that even though we are, as a coalition, we are promoting Medicare for all, we have to fight together, with activists in different domains, such as anti-nuclear or anti-militarism, climate justice, racial justice. All these issues are interconnected, so we must come together. So we are inviting local activists in different domains to come together and protest in front of Nancy Pelosi's house.
Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you guys the action on Eventbrite.
Great.
So here we go. So Day of the Dead is Saturday, October 30th. Oh, hold on one second. I got a little bit of an echo. Okay. Day of the Dead, Saturday, October 30th, is the March for Medicare for All in San Francisco. So I'm going to go down here and tell you a little bit about it here. On Saturday, October 30th, 2021, we will be mourning the unnecessary deaths of 68,000 Americans annually due to lack of health care, and also the estimated 285,000 plus deaths for the same reason since the beginning of the pandemic. We will gather at Alta Plaza Park in Presidio neighborhood of San Francisco at noon. Protesters will be asked to dress as if you are attending a funeral. We will carry a life-size coffin with the number 68,000 painted in red in the style of a funeral procession to Speaker Nancy Pelosi's residence. In front of Speaker Nancy Pelosi's residence, which is arguably the most haunted place in San Francisco, for her refusal and neglect to take action in the face of so many deaths in the United States of America. We will have a speaker lined up for local activists representing Medicare medical professionals, communities of color, immigrants, LGBTQ, and communities and leaders in San Francisco neighborhoods, which have been most affected by the 19 deaths. Confirmed speakers: Anna Melillo, Cynthia Papermaster, Eric Curry, Dr. Joe Jarvis, Laura Fielding, Patrick Cody. That's Pat of Pat the Burner. You guys may know him as Pat the Burner. Scott Desnoyers, Shahid Buttar. More will be announced. We demand Speaker Nancy Pelosi co-sponsor H.R. 1976 immediately. Support to bring the bill onto the floor of the 7 committees of jurisdiction for hearing. No more sabotage. Proactively build support for H.R. 1976 among her Democratic colleagues. Proactively work to build support for H.R. 196 among her Republican friends. Please bring photo of your loved ones who have been deceased. Please bring a copy of your medical bills so Speaker Pelosi may visualize the amount of pain and suffering. We will recite the names of the deceased. This is a peaceful protest. We strongly recommend protesters wear a mask during the protest, though we ask that you refrain from wearing monster masks that cover your entire face. So guys, first of all, this is huge. I'm really glad that you're continuing on the March for Medicare for All. I was a part of the one here in Boston as an MC, and I got to tell you, we have to continue doing this. We have to continue fighting for this. We can't just do one march and let that be it.
Absolutely. And we're really at a pivotal moment in our nation's history. I think we have a sliver of an opportunity, but we have to take that sliver because they're taking our voting rights. They're taking away reproductive rights. Like, what's next? I don't want to find out. So let's get in their faces and take our country back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of people on the list for speakers that are going to be there. Shahid Buttar is a huge activist. He's been on here as well. Very familiar with his activism. Dr. Joseph Jarvis was also at the Medicare for All March in DC. He was a speaker there as well. Pat the Burner, I know Pat the Burner from Twitter. So if you are in the area or if you can make it there, I highly recommend that you go. The more people they have, the better.
Actually, if you're able to make it, if you're coming from out of town, feel free to shoot me a message on Twitter or Instagram. It's at Eric Curry SF, EricCurrysF. I'd be more than happy to help you navigate San Francisco. I am also a tour guide, so.
And I just want to add one more thing. So yeah, we know that not everyone can gather in San Francisco because like it's a huge country, right? United States. So, but we have still like 18 days to date. So if you have motivation, if you desire to do something in your cities, yeah, go ahead and do it. And if you haven't organized anything before, any protest rally, doesn't matter, we will help you. We have tools that we can help you organize thing. It can be small, size doesn't matter, but we want you to appeal to your representatives in your district because they should represent your interest. So please, join us.
Yeah, Jean has a good question. How can people help that can't be there? Any ideas?
You could definitely share the word on Twitter. Talk about it with your friends, talk about it with your family. If you aren't based on the West Coast, we all our events, including one in New York this November. So please stay tuned for that. There's always going to be a chance that we can get out there and take some action. And remember, don't hold back because they neglect us. They don't care about the most vulnerable. They promise us all of these every campaign cycle. They're always saying, well, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. They never come down to it. Joe Biden said he's there for all if it came to his desk. His approval rating is at an all-time low. Now is the time to strike. Now is the time to put Nancy Pelosi's feet to the fire. They're going to blame the progressives for midterms anyway, so why don't we give them an actual reason to get angry and to actually fight for working people during this deadly pandemic where, by the way, we are talking about the people who have died, but let's not who might have lower life expectancy and die sooner than they were going to die because of their lack of health care.
Yeah, agreed. Guys, again, like if you can be there, try to make it there. This is like they said, like Joe Biden's rating right now is really, really low and it continues to go down. So this is the time you really got to put pressure on them, especially if they think they're going to win again. So it's now or never. Like the pandemic is not over. I don't know about you guys, but it's not over. And we still are dealing with it in this country. So we need everyone to have healthcare in this country. And you guys are going to the right person's house.
Yep. The most haunted place in San Francisco where dreams and deals go to die.
Absolutely. Is anyone going to stream the event?
We are hoping. I don't think we have the final word, but we are working on it.
Yeah. I believe so. I want to say so.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If that happens, just let me know. Send me the link and I can shout that out as well.
Great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, thank you so much, Sabrina. The importance of independent journalism at this moment in particular is just so thank you so much for the work that you do for getting the work out there because the media is not covering the workers' rising going on right now, the workers' revolt. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for coming on. And I'll do whatever I can to get the word out and spread it to as many people as possible.
Thank you.
Follow the money. Always follow the money. Look at Nancy Pelosi's Tesla stock.
Oh God, yeah. No, I mean, I echo like what Eric said. The mainstream media are never going to cover these things because, I mean, as Edwin just said, follow the money too. Not only politicians, but like ad dollars that they get from pharmaceutical companies, or any given industries. They are not going to cover, the important things to working, for working people. Like case in point, I'm from Japan. So after Fukushima nuclear accident, no major news have ever covered, what Tokyo Electric Company was doing or not doing, because TEPCO, Tokyo Electric Power Company, is the biggest advertiser in Japan, so they're not gonna touch the ad dollars. So anyway, so yeah, Sabby, like what you are doing is so important because you are like our only hope to get the word out. So thank you.
Thank you guys. And there's another one too. I want to share my screen as well because this was sent to me earlier today. This is happening right here in Boston. So for those of you who are on the East Coast in this area, let me go ahead and share my screen. So there is another Medicare for All protest happening in Massachusetts, Tuesday, October 26th. So I was at this one. That's me over there. Oh, I'm glad they covered me up with the sign. That was a hot day. It was brutal. But October 26, 2021, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. This is happening at the Massachusetts State House. And this is an emergency protest for all Massachusetts residents. The Healthcare Finance Committee is having a hearing for Bill S766, which will bring Massachusetts Medicare for all. If we don't protest on the day of the hearing, they are either going to make corporate-friendly changes or most likely toss it out. Please bring a friend or a family member to Boston Commons in front of the State House. This is very crucial, especially during the pandemic and the Commonwealth. People are losing their jobs and health insurance. Please bring a friend. Tell your story about your healthcare struggles and be safe. So right in front of the State House at Boston Common. Again, this is happening October 26, 2021, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I'll go ahead and put the link to this in the chat as well.
Support your state's single payer initiatives because we can have multi-strategy approaches. We can go top-down approach for a federal Medicare for all while simultaneously building the ground-up initiative in respective states like CalCare, like the New York Health Act, and like this event in Massachusetts.
Absolutely. I think I just put the other link in there. Hold on one second, you guys. I'm going to put this one in there as well. That way you have both of them. So you have one on the West Coast and you have one on the East Coast. So definitely, guys, if you can make it, please make it. Again, this is the time. We got to put pressure on them. This is the time. Joe Biden is not doing too well. So I feel like it's now another. We got to keep this going on. Guys, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You have a great rest of your evening. I really appreciate you having us on.
Anytime. Bye.
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 Thank you.
Bye.
All right, guys. So some direct action for you guys. The protests in front of Nancy Pelosi's house, I feel like it is an amazing idea. It needs to happen. You have to put the pressure on her. You have to put it in her face because she is one of the people that refuses to bring the bill to the floor. So we gotta do it, you guys. We gotta do it as much as we can, as many times as it takes. Like I said, Joe Biden is not doing well right now. So this is really the time to put pressure on them, especially like you can even go out there and say, look, if you want to win again, not that I would vote for him, but I'm just saying, if you want to win again, need to make this happen. Need to make this happen. It is time. And that brings me into my second story tonight, which is also about Joe Biden. So Tulsi Gabbard has been in the news quite a bit lately. I'm sure you guys have seen her back and forth, one thing after another. She has had some pretty cringe takes lately. And hold on one second. Okay. She's had some pretty cringe takes lately, especially when it comes to war, when it comes to imperialism, which goes against things that she ran on. But recently, over the past couple of days, she has come out and said some things about the Biden administration in reference to immigration. And she was on Fox News talking about this. I'm going to play this clip for you, and then I'm going to give you my take on this and where I think that this is going to go. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I don't know why it's doing that. That's weird. Okay.
Welcome back to Justice as we're looking live at the Empire State Building, lit up tonight in the colors of our logo, red, white, and blue. In us now, a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Reserves. Tulsi, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Tulsi, I want you to think back to the 17 years when you were in the National Guard. If you could picture yourself or some of the members of the Guard that you were with being in Texas at the border and having drug cartels, criminals with AR-15s, AK-47s shooting across the Rio Grande into the United States at the National Guard. That's what's going on as we speak in the United States today. What is the Biden administration doing about this, and what should they be doing?
Well, first of all, for our soldiers who are serving down there, I'm sure they have rules of engagement to deal with this sort of situation. But really the bigger issue here, Judge, is that these drug cartels, these human traffickers, they are incredibly emboldened to the point where they feel that they can do this without consequence, where they feel they can continue profiting off of trafficking people across these borders that are essentially open. The Biden-Harris administration has an open door policy at the borders, and it doesn't matter how many times Secretary Blinken or Kamala Harris or anyone from the administration says, don't come across the border. The reality is that people are being let in and crossing the border every single day. I think we look at the numbers. In August of this year alone, over 200,000 people were apprehended for trying to illegally cross the border, 317% increase over last year, August. And we're seeing hundreds of thousands more crossing the border who are not apprehended. Actions speak louder than words. And the fact is that the open door policy that this administration has in place is posing a humanitarian crisis, is creating a humanitarian crisis as well as a very serious security threat for our country.
Well, at what point do we hold Joe Biden and his administration accountable? I mean, do they actually, there's so much going on from the border to COVID to schools. I mean, it goes on and on.
You make a good point here. The faith and trust that the American people need to have in our leaders is dropping every day. The Department of Homeland Security Secretary recently told Congress, our borders are secure. This is what he said. This kind of bold-faced lie, whether it has to do with domestic issues or foreign policy issues, we've seen this with Afghanistan and the tragically botched withdrawal of our troops and Americans out of Afghanistan. When people are being lied to, the American people are being lied to, it is revealing of the arrogance and the self-serving nature of leaders who are in power in this country, and the disrespect that they have for the American people, and it's why people are losing faith and trust in those leaders. If we have leaders who respect the people, then the people will respect our leaders. If we have leaders who trust the American people, we will trust our leaders. And that's the problem here, is we don't have leaders who have that trust and respect, and who therefore put themselves ahead of the interests of the people.
Well, there's no question, but what do we do now? I mean, you've got Mayorkas lying, you've got Joe Biden lying, and we're not going to leave any Americans behind. I don't have to elaborate. You've got Kamala Harris buying cake when they're meeting with Mexicans. Exactly. But Kamala Harris, I mean, this is the vice president, all of them are a disaster. Blinken is a disaster. What are Americans supposed to do? Just wait till 2024?
Well, we've got representatives of the American people in Congress who have a responsibility to hold the administration accountable. It's the basics of our civics 101. When we have this co-equal branch of government, the legislative branch and the executive branch, Congress needs to take action to hold this administration and any administration accountable to make sure that they are working in the best interests of the American people and Congress. And this goes across both parties. They got to put the partisanship aside and put the well-being and the interests of the American people first.
But it's not going to happen. Tulsi, you know and I know it's not going to happen. They have their
That's why we got to keep calling them. We got to keep their feet to the fire.
No, we got to vote. Tulsi Gabbard, thank you so much for being with us tonight. We have a lot of respect for you.
Oh man, where do I even begin? So a couple of things. Let's all remember, Tulsi Gabbard endorsed Joe Biden. I believe that happened before Bernie dropped out. I have to go back and double check, but I believe that happened before Bernie Sanders dropped out. Just wanted to put that out there. She endorsed Joe Biden. Now, there's a couple of things I want you to pay close attention to. First of all, I really loathe Janine. Like listening to that woman's voice, and I watched this clip a couple of times. It was painful. It was painful. But one thing I want you to keep in mind. Let's not sit here and pretend that now all of a sudden Tulsi is this do-gooder. Let's not sit back and pretend that. Because the past couple of takes that Tulsi Gabbard has had about war and about imperialism and about drone strikes have not been good takes. Have not been good takes. Let's not forget that. I also find it interesting that here she sits, her and Janine, they're both wearing red dresses. You guys check that out. Tulsi looks like she might run again. Maybe as a Republican? I don't know. I could be wrong. But Tulsi Gabbard has been in the news a lot lately. She's been vocal a lot lately. Almost as if she's thinking about running for something. Notice Janine said, "We appreciate you." They like her. I wonder why. So I just want to put that out there first before I give my criticisms about Joe Biden. Now, if this is the case, if this is happening, then yes, Joe Biden lied to you. Big whoop. Surprise, surprise. This isn't the first time. Come on. We're really surprised by this. We're really surprised that Joe Biden may have stood in front of the American people and said, "Oh, yep, the borders are closed. Nobody's coming through. We got this." I told you guys before, Joe Biden has no control over this country right now. I don't even think Joe Biden knows where he is half the time. So we have to be careful about watching things like this and just immediately going, because I've seen people do this already, immediately going, "Oh, Tulsi's right. Tulsi's right." We have to also sit back and ask, what is her benefit from this? Because like I said, I find it strange that when she had the chance to endorse Bernie Sanders, she endorsed Joe Biden. Let's remember that. Now, I don't know if she was promised something, maybe a position from Joe Biden or whatever. Who knows? Who knows what goes on behind the scenes? We're not there. But it's obvious that she's not happy with the Biden administration. I'm not happy with the Biden administration either. But I find her to be suspect right now. Because she knew from the beginning that this is who Joe Biden is. So the fact that she's coming out and saying these things about him and she endorsed him, please. You get no pity from me, boo. You get no pity from me. Now, in reference to immigration, here's a question I want us to think about. Are people coming here? Yes. We saw this a couple weeks ago with Haitian migrants coming to the border. But I want you to ask yourself, why are they coming here in the first place? They are coming here because the countries where they lived are destroyed. You know why they're destroyed? Because of us. Haiti is impoverished because of us. Because of the regime change that we did in their country, the American government. Why are people coming here from Colombia? Why are people coming here from Venezuela? Because of us. The United States government. They destroy these countries. They loot these countries. Let's call it what it is, man. Let's call it what it is. They loot these countries. They steal their resources. And they leave them, the people, there to deal with the rubble. Now that we've taken everything that we can from you, try to survive. You'd leave too. I'd leave. People are so in despair. They're in so much despair in these countries that they're willing to risk their lives to get here. That's how bad it is. So you mean to tell me after we go to these countries, after we bomb them, after we steal their resources, kill their people, now we tell them that they can't come here to get a better life? That seems pretty messed up. That seems pretty messed up. Those people are left to suffer in those countries. After we've taken everything that they have, we close our doors to them. So let's be very clear here. People are coming here for a reason. And it's easy to sit back and think that they should just pull themselves up by their bootstraps. People are still saying that. We never stop and think that it could happen to us, that one day we may need to go to another country. One day it could be Americans who are in trouble. And I bet you nobody's going to let us in. Not after what we've done to people in their country. So that's why they're coming here, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to make that very clear. Second, in reference to Joe Biden, did people really think that Joe Biden was going to get a handle on this immigration situation that we have in this country? I told you he doesn't know where he is half the time. You go back to the debates and they're asking him questions about his policies, the plans that he has. He goes off into this long rant about some dude named Corn Pop. Start saying things like kids need to listen to radios. Had nothing to do with the questions he was asked. And people elected him anyway. The two-party system in this country has got to go. We should not have to choose between the lesser of two evils. I talked to Cynthia McKinney recently. If you haven't seen that interview, definitely go back and watch that interview. Do you know one of the things she said? None of the 535 members in DC are willing to go to the mat for us. None of them, not on the Republican side, not on the Democrat side, none. And you can include Bernie Sanders in that mix too, Mr. Independent, who's not so independent because he sides with the Democrats. He's also voted for some of these wars. Let's be real. Let's be real. Put it all out on the table. So no, the two-party system is not working. Every politician is in it for themselves. Careerist, opportunist. Why do you think Cynthia McKinney left? Look at what they did to Ralph Nader. Look at what they did to Jill Stein. You can't go up against them when you're with them. And this is what I tell you about the squad. Same problem, same situation. You want to know why they're not pushing back? You want to know why they're not fighting? You want to know why they're not going to the mat for us? Because they are one of them. They are not going to fight against their own group. Yes, Valerie, we have taxation without representation. We need to revolt, a big, true revolution. We have to rise up. It is time. Guys, Joe Biden is tanking in the polls. He's tanking. And I'm here to tell you, the solution is not a different Democrat. The solution is not a Republican. They've got to go. We play this game every time. We think a different person gets in, they're gonna do things differently. They don't. You just heard the activists that were on here at the beginning of the show. They're going to be protesting at Nancy Pelosi's house, which needs to happen. She has been a politician for years. What has she done for the people? In her own district, people can't even afford to live there. Tent communities. People pushed out because of gentrification. And they continue to elect this woman. They continue to elect her. No reason why she should not have to debate. She didn't even debate Shahid Buttar. I think every candidate should have to debate. And that includes third-party candidates who are often left off of the debate stage. You just heard from Princess Blanding. She was on here as well. You saw what they did to her. It's all a game. They're not in it for us. They're in it for their donors. They're in it for the corporations, and they're in it for their career. At the end of the day, that is what they're looking out for. We have an immigration problem. And I tried to tell people Joe Biden was not going to be the one to fix it. Eric Thomas said, I'm waiting for the politician that will call other politicians corrupt. Here we go. They're all shady. Even the ones who have good intentions when they run, once they get in and they're part of the system, they realize they got to play the game. Or they will push them out. Or they will smear them. Look at how they smeared Jill Stein. This is how the game works. This is what happens. We have to push back. We have to be bolder and we have to be stronger. And I'm here to tell you the answer, the solution is not to elect another Justice Democrat. That is not going to help us. Did you know? And I saw this earlier today as well. Joe Biden's poll numbers are not just decreasing across people in the country. He's particularly losing Black people. Oh, yes. He's losing Black people. Democrats can't win without us. This is the slap in the face that they need. We have to pick someone else who is not a part of the two-party system. Now, I told you guys, I don't have a lot of faith in electoral politics. I think if you're going to do it locally. Pay attention to who's running for mayor, who's running for city council, who's running for governor. Pay attention to those races. But when it comes to national office, federal office, we can't do the two-party system. So I am going to continue to bring third-party candidates on this show because they are not getting the attention they should get. Even on some of these independent media platforms, they are not getting it. I'm going to go to some of the comments in the chat. Laura said, the elite have a compassion problem. They are so removed from our suffering. Time to take action, peaceful action, civil disobedience required. You go. There you go. Valerie said, never understood how people of color voted for Biden after all he's done against them, especially Black people. Because we have basically subscribed to that lesser of two evils logic. Orange Man was bad. We got to vote for Joe Biden because Trump is bad. If you don't vote for Biden, that's a vote for Trump. You don't want to get Trump again, do you? Do you? That's what they do. That is what they do. We need to start looking to people like Shwama Sawant, a socialist who won. India Walton, another socialist who won. Lee Carter was another socialist who won. It can happen. We have to educate people around us, our friends, our family members, especially those who are only watching mainstream media, and we have to clue them in to the other side of things. Because I used to watch CNN too. Not gonna lie. I thought Anderson Cooper was telling me the truth. Same with Don Lemon. We're not even gonna get into Chris Cuomo. Let's not go down that road. I was one of them too. And it was independent media that woke me up. So no, I don't think Joe Biden is going to fix the immigration problem in this country. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't even think he knows where to start, where to begin. And he's been a politician for 40 years. This is the person that we put in office. But Tulsi does not get a pat on the back from me because she's a part of the system too. She's part of the problem. Now she's on Fox News side. Pay close attention, guys. Pay close attention. What is in it for her? Gary, thank you so much for this. This is a good point. Electing Jab Biden, he's not even Joe anymore. Electing Jab Biden decimated the progressive movement. Killed it. But let's also remember, this is partially Bernie Sanders' fault too. Because Bernie sold us out. Where is he now? Where was he when all those marches for Medicare for all were happening across this country? He didn't even tweet about it. He just pieced out. You can't say you're starting a movement and then just walk away from the movement because you lost. Jean said, if Latinos and Black people came together, we could vote out these evil, greedy a-holes and get the country we want. We would dominate. Let's talk about people coming together, because that's the problem that we have in this country. They continue to divide us between red and blue. We are divided amongst the red and the blue. If we take away the party names, we have more in common than we realize. And this is why I say people need to unite over labor. Look at how many people leaving their jobs. Look, employers, they're like, we can't get people to work for us because you didn't treat the people that were working for you. You didn't treat them well. Now you want them back. You need them. You realize you need them. Kellogg employees are on strike now. This is going to continue. We have to wake corporations up. We have to get them first because that's how you get to the politicians. That's why we need a general strike in this country. We need to rise up, all of us, a part of a labor movement. Forget the red and the blue. And we need to hit the corporations. This is what we have to do. Because when the corporations suffer, the politicians will also suffer. They don't have their donors. What are they going to do? They'll have no choice but to listen to us. Thanks so much for the super chat, Richard. Did the CIA take Bernie into a dark, musty room and show him the Zup film? He flipped quick. Thanks for the super chat, Richard. Did Bernie flip? Or is this just who he really is now? The person that he's showing us now? Did Bernie play us just to get our votes? Come on, man. Come on. Because he sure very quickly said, I'm supporting Joe Biden. Just like that. Just like he did for Hillary Clinton. And by the way, I don't think he should have helped Hillary at all. Do not like that woman. I don't think he should have helped her one bit. Look at how she talks about him now, after the fact. It's all Bernie's fault that she lost. Bernie and Russia. Everybody but herself. Every time I see this woman on someone else's show, she is there to remind again, it is Bernie's fault that she lost. Here we are years later. This woman still can't get over this, can't get past it. Even wrote a book about it. And I bet you people bought it too. Austin Jones said, also, Bernie, if I tell you who to vote for, don't listen. There you go. He just ditched us. He dropped us like a bad habit. No more movement, people. We're going to push Joe Biden left. Laura said he took people's money and gave it to HRC. He said he would. He did. If you believed Bernie, you wanted to be fooled. I did too. That's a good point. I got a text message the other day from Bernie's campaign asking me for more money. You're not even running, boo. Why are you asking me for more money? No. Those of you that are part of his team, instead of texting and emailing people, asking us for money to help Bernie, and that's what it said, please help Bernie. No. Go back to Bernie and tell him to help us. Gamer for Life said Clinton goons are also evil. The whole Clinton family. Don't forget Whitewater. They're corrupt. Don't forget Jeffrey Epstein. Whoop, wasn't supposed to say that one. Wasn't supposed to say that one. But that brings me to my next story. Prince Andrew. This guy is back in the news again. And I was hoping this time I would have good news for you about Prince Andrew, but I do not. I was not happy to see this, and I was not happy to hear this. Let me go ahead and share my screen because I want to show you the recent developments about his situation. Listen to this. Epstein met to take no action after Prince Andrew review. Can't believe this, you guys. The Metropolitan Police will not take any further action against the Duke of York following a review prompted by Jeffrey Epstein accuser Virginia Giuffre. Ms. Giuffre is suing Prince Andrew in the U.S. for allegedly sexually assaulting her when she was a teenager. By the way, this is the picture here. For those of you who don't know about the story, this is Prince Andrew and this is Virginia. That picture was taken in 2001. Prince Andrew has consistently denied Ms. Giuffre's allegations. A source close to the Duke told PA Media it had come as no surprise the Met had decided to drop its probe. Despite pressure from the media and claims of new evidence, the Met have concluded that the claims are not sufficient to warrant any further investigation. The Duke has always vigorously maintained his innocence and continues to do so. Duh, of course he's going to say he's innocent. Next, in August, the Met said it will review its decision not to investigate allegations connected to Epstein. Ms. Giuffre claimed she was sexually assaulted by the prince at 3 locations. Not 1, 3. London, New York, and Epstein's private island on the Caribbean. Her case claims Prince Andrew engaged in sexual acts with without Ms. Giuffre's consent, including when she was 17 years old. The Met also confirmed it had completed its review into allegations reported in June by broadcaster Channel 4 News that British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's former girlfriend, trafficked, groomed, and abused women and girls in the UK. The force said it had reviewed information passed to us by a media organization in June and decided that no further action will be taken. In 2019, U.S. financier Epstein was found dead in his cell in New York's Metropolitan Correctional Center. Let me pop out. For those of you who do not know, this is not the first time Prince Andrew has been outed for sleeping with underage girls. This is not the first time. When you are going up against someone who is as powerful as him, he's a prince. The fact that she had to fight tooth and nail to even get them to serve him papers. I talked about this story a couple weeks ago where they couldn't even serve him papers. He was hiding from them. Think about if one of us did that. Think about if one of us was just hiding from, lawyers, police. That went on for a while. Then they finally served him. They were like, we weren't able to give the papers to him. What do you mean you weren't able to? You know where he lives? Money, power, and fame. We saw this whole thing happen with Harvey Weinstein. We saw this happen with Bill Cosby, and Bill Cosby has been, set free because of a technicality. This young woman had no chance to win. She had no chance. I'm pretty sure that there may have been others that did want to come forward, but they probably knew that this is what they would be up against. What kind of message does it send to women when these kind of things happen? Again, I'll say it again. This is not the first time Prince Andrew has been outed for sleeping with underage girls. The royal family is not perfect. You should look up their history. But because he's a prince, he's given the benefit of the doubt. She had evidence. Nobody questioned here. What was he doing with the 17-year-old girl? She's got pictures with him. Epstein ran with a lot of people. Bill Clinton was one of them. There's pictures of him too. Maybe one day all the names will come out. I think we may be surprised at who might be on that list. And you see, Epstein didn't live to tell us. That was not a coincidence. Where Pilgrim says the queen won't let any harm come to her baby boy, LOL. I mean, there has to be some type of embarrassment. But I will say this as well. I don't think this is the first time the queen has heard about it. Women have been known to keep quiet too. Not just men in those circles, women in those circles too. May have chosen to look the other way. It happens. You think she knew that her son was sleeping with underage girls? I'm sure she probably knew. He's a public figure. You think she didn't see a picture of him somewhere once or twice with these girls? Jean has a point. We must protect the royal family at all costs. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. I want to remind everybody that the people in England pay for the royal family. They pay for their lifestyle. I don't even think you should have royalty. What are they doing? Not a political position, but you're living off of the taxpayers in your country. Nico says the UK citizens pay to watch TV too. It's a licensing fee. I didn't know about that. But I know if my tax dollars were going towards the royal family, knowing what I know about the royal family, I would be livid. Very, very, very disappointing. I was not expecting to see that news this week. And it's just ridiculous that once again, another person in power walks. Let me tell you something. Regardless of the information that they had, there was no way they were going to find him guilty. He's a prince. It's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I talked about this about a week or two ago with the situation with R. Kelly. How R. Kelly had been sleeping with underage girls going all the way back to Aaliyah. How he married her illegally. How they lied about her age on the documentation. R. Kelly wasn't even charged for that. And he said that he's going to out some people. That he's going to out a rapper and a singer. Don't know who it would be, but don't be surprised when it comes out. I guess he says he's not going down without a fight. Or he's not going down by himself. Eric Thomas says the royals are entertainment like our movie stars. They have no power. They are upper status servants. It's very true, you guys. You have to understand, like, I know the history of the royal family. They don't do anything. They can't, like, it's not like they're not the prime minister. They're figureheads. Charles said, "Oh well, all these war criminals run around free of accountability. Bush, Blair, Clinton, Trump and company. It's all about money, you guys. All about money. Because when you have a lot of money, you're seen as a powerful person. And it is hard to take them down. It is very hard. They have the best lawyers. They probably know some of the judges that they can pay off. It's very interesting. During a time, for the past couple of years, we've had the Me Too movement. We had I'm With Her. We had Time's Up. And we are still seeing this happen. Gamer said, the elites are hard to take down because they have too much power. And they know a lot of people. They know the right people in the right places. This is why a lot of times, even when it comes to celebrities, Caitlyn Jenner had a hit and run, walks. We see celebrities all the time get involved in domestic incidents, walk. There was a movie producer or producer, Roman Polanski. I think I said his last name correctly. He's another one. Sleeping with underage girls, walks. People don't like to talk about this in Hollywood. But Woody Allen, who a lot of people in Hollywood rave about. Oh, he's so creative. He's such a visionary. You have to see his films. And Woody Allen was dating his adopted daughter. She was underage. We just gonna forget about that? Morgan Freeman too. They're creative. They're brilliant. Polanski. Yes, Roman Polanski. Polanski did it when everyone was doing it in the 70s. Still, it was illegal. It was illegal. Thank you for bringing that up, Ware Pilgrim. He's a director, and Whoopi Goldberg used to stand up for Polanski too. She's another one that's kind of shady. I can't stand The View because they have terrible political takes, but I also can't stand The View because Whoopi Goldberg, she defends the wrong people. And I've seen her do it time and time again. Remember, again, she's elite. She is one of them. Terrible. Terrible, terrible. Franny French said lots of women stood up for Polanski. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier. Don't think that it's only men in those circles. Don't think that there aren't women there that know about these things too. And you have to ask yourself, what's in it for them? Because apparently there's been a lot of this going on in Hollywood for decades. Everyone is just supposed to keep quiet so they can get paid. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Charles said, what about Jimmy Savile in GB? He would give sex with dead corpses in hospital morgues, one of Prince Charles' buddies. This is the company they keep, man. This is the company they keep. When you're really wealthy and you have a lot of power, you can do whatever you want to do. And you know there's not going to be any accountability. There's no repercussions. This is why I tell people the criminal justice system, there's no justice in the justice system. It benefits those who are wealthy, and it's terrible for those who are poor. It's just a fact. Look at how many people are sitting in jail, not because they're guilty, but because they can't pay the bail. Joy Duncan said the BBC totally covered up for Jimmy Savile for decades. Hunter Biden, another example. Yes. Please tell me, why is it okay for the average American who was a part of Joe Biden's crime bill to go to prison for 20 years for marijuana, but Joe Biden's son is on video using crack cocaine and nothing happens to him? Where's his 20 years? He doesn't get it because he's wealthy. He doesn't get it because he's Joe Biden's son. That's how it works. Not just this country, but I'm pretty much willing to bet every country. Yeah, thanks, Eric. Today's FHL on 10 demands for justice was great. Yes, absolutely. For those of you who don't know, I usually say this at the beginning of the show, but I'm part of Fred Hampton Leftist Network. And Nick, that's a part of that network, is also a part of 10 demands for justice. And so every now and then you'll see like clips on there for 10 demands for justice. It's a group of activists that came up with 10 demands that they want to happen in this country. And a lot of it involves law enforcement and things that need to change. So definitely check that out if you didn't get a chance to see it. Absolutely. So I told you guys about 2 direct action events that are coming up, one in Boston and one in San Francisco. Both of them are happening this month. I highly encourage you to go if you can attend. We need all the people we can get. We got to put pressure on them, you guys. We got to put pressure on them because, like I said, right now, Joe Biden is really tanking in the polls. Really tanking. And so now is really the time to just go for the neck. Psh. Got to take him down. We have to let them know that these aren't things that we want. These are things that we demand. Because I can tell you, it's probably only going to get worse before it gets better. And if it gets better, it's going to be because of us. It's not going to be because of politicians. Because let's face it, they're all set. Their lives are good. They have great health care, which a lot of us don't have. It'll be because of us. Wear a pilgrim, go for the neck and sweep the leg. There you go. A little Karate Kid there. Yeah. Got to take them out now while you can. Got to take them down. But that is all I have for you guys tonight. It is 8:10. I am going to head out. I haven't decided if I'm going to stream tomorrow or Thursday evening. Either way, you'll know. If you're not, some of you told me you're not getting notifications. That's a YouTube thing. That's not a me thing. I still don't get notifications for some people either. It's a YouTube thing. It sucks. It sucks. But other than that, guys, have a good night. Keep up the fight.